you guys. Welcome to the River Room. It's me, Chris Conley. I'm a little bit late this morning, trying to get my Facebook all hooked up and working here. Let me just pop on and make sure I'm in the right spot. I am going to share with you some of our new in colors today. It is Wednesday at noon. I always do a live at lunchtime on Wednesdays, and I'm glad that you're here with me. I think that I'm in the right spot, and I think you can see me. You can. Okay. I'll go up just a little bit because it seems to be where I need to be. Okay. If you're watching, please leave me a comment and let me know you're here with me. I'm going to try and watch comments as I go along here, but we'll see if I can get that in or not. Okay, so we have 5 new in colors, and I love them all. They are so gorgeous. They are Pebbled Path, Boho Blue, Moody Mauve, Copper Clay, and Wild Wheat, I believe is the other one. This one is Moody Mauve, which is one of my favorites. And Wild Wheat is indeed our last one. We have some coordinating products with them. We have these little rhinestones, and we have some ribbon. And we have, of course, an ink pad. We have blends. And we have this designer series paper. So at our team meeting last week, we did 5 cards, all using these new in colors. So I've got them all prepped, and I'm going to quickly share them with you. When you come to our team meeting, you'll get a packet like this that has all of your make and takes in it, prepped and ready to go. And they're just kind of stacked right on top of each other. So I'm just going to pull out this top one, which is going to be our Wild Wheat. And I did pair these with sentiments from the Wonderful Thoughts stamp set. So the Wonderful Thoughts has all of these really great sentiments in it. And then it has these coordinating dies and some flowers. It's just a really cool die set with the words, but the words certainly can stand alone. You don't need to do it necessarily as a bundle. And today we're also going to be trying some new embossing folders. We did different embossing folders on each card, and I have since got my order in, so we're going to be trying the new Twisted Rope embossing folder. This one I'm really excited about. It is called the Exposed Brick embossing folder. I think that's going to be a really fun one that I'm going to get a lot of use out of. And then we're also going to be using the Trio. It's a Basics 3D Embossing Folders Trio. So you have kind of a crosshatch, some stars, and then some big dots. So we're going to use all 3 of those today. Okay, I think we are about ready here. Let me get these out of the way for right now. We'll do the Wonderful Wheat to start with. Okay, and we have some dies already pre-cut. Our bow is cut or tied. Our cardstock is 5.5 by 8.5. The score line is at 4 1/4 on the long side. And then I'm just going to emboss, and I'm going to start with this Exposed Brick. I think this is just really cool. It looks like weathered brick. So let's see what it looks like. This is a 3D embossing folder. So our plate for our big shot, our sandwich, if you will, is going to be our number 1 plate. our embossing folder. Let me grab my piece of cardstock here. So I'm going to put my cardstock inside my embossing folder and just run that through. I'm going to make sure I get it lined up. You can see, I'm going to actually run that over there. So you can see I'm going to line it up so that it is lined up with this line at the bottom of my embossing folder. That line at the bottom of my embossing folder is just going to give me kind of a guide so I know it's going to be straight. Okay, so you can see that little line there. And that's what I'm going to line it up with. And then I'm going to put my gray plate. This gray plate is going to go on top of that. So I have my number 1 plate, my embossing folder with my cardstock inside, and then my gray plate. And that's what I'm going to run through my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. It's too hard for me to try and get this under the camera the way I have the camera positioned today. So I'm just going to kind of do that off screen, and let's see what this one looks like. Oh, wow. Isn't that pretty? It does look like weathered brick. Can you guys see that? Let me get up real close there. So you can see the brick, and then you can see the kind of texture to it. Very cool. So then I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal to adhere that to my card front. And I am going to put my Stampin' Seal all the way around my card. And this one is 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to put my adhesive all the way around because I wanted to get in all those little nooks and crannies that my embossing folder made. And I'm just going to make sure that's straight there. It's going to be tone on tone. These cards were designed to really make our in colors pop. Okay, so you actually have 4 patterns. You have the dots, the stripes, the little hearts, and then you have kind of a cross hatch. And each pack of Designer Series paper has 4 of these patterns in them, okay? So I'm going to take my paper snips, and I'm just going to trim my ends. I'm going to kind of set it up here, and I want these to kind of look all crazy. They don't have to be perfectly straight or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to kind of put them on like that. And then I'm just going to snip my ends so they have kind of a banner or angled end to them. And it doesn't matter which way you trim them. And it doesn't also matter how you're going to put them on there either, with which pattern going which way or anything like that, okay? So, let's just do it like this. We're going to put the little circles on the outside. We're going to put the stripes next to it. And then we're going to put our hearts on here at this end. So they're all on there, kind of going in an angle. I have a die cut piece of Whisper White, and then I have heat embossed my words, "You are much appreciated," in white embossing powder. And I'm going to put those on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to put those right on to my little white die cut piece. Hope you guys all had a great weekend and a happy Mother's Day. We had a nice Mother's Day. My husband took me out for brunch. My kids came the day before, so they were here on Saturday and spent the afternoon with us. And then we have these little adhesive dots. So I'm just going to take one of these big ones and kind of put it on my snips here. And you can always use your take your pick tool for this too. I'm just going to kind of stick it sort of under the edge there. Just a little bit right towards the edge of that. Okay, and then I'm going to take my bow, which was pre-made. Our team meetings are really kind of a social event, and so I tend to do a lot of the work for them, and bows are one of the things that I do for them. I make all of their bows so that they don't have to get frustrated trying to make one. And then I put this whole piece on with some more Stampin' Seal. I don't know about you guys, but my customers also appreciate when I do their bows for them. Just going to put it in the middle of my card. And I'm going to add a couple more of these adhesive big dots. Now these dots come in 3 different sizes. So there's like a big, a medium, and a small. Put this one right down in here. Okay, so I used a big one here, a medium one there, and then a little small one here. Okay, so this is our wild wheat color. And that is our exposed brick 3D embossing folder. That one is going to definitely be a favorite of mine. Okay, so boho blue is our next one here. And I cut some flowers or sprigs from the Quiet Meadows dies for this one. So there's my, let me get all my goodies out of here. This one has a lot of goodies with it. Okay. Ugh. So these are the flower dies that were cut from the Quiet Meadow dies, and then this one is from the Detailed Labels dies. I'm going to get my take your pick tool and just poke some of these out. I have a downline who likes to leave some of those in, so I never poke them all out in case she wants some in on hers, but I want all mine out, so I am going to poke mine out. Okay, and then we're going to need some words for this one. So let me bring in my stamps here and my ink pad. I'm going to put Thinking of You on here. I'm going to do it in my boho blue ink. And this is the color coordination is one of the things I like most about Stampin' Up. In fact, it was probably one of the biggest reasons I joined Stampin' Up, because I was at that point working a full-time job, and I would go with my coupons to Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby and buy all kinds of designer series paper and cardstock and, oh boy, stickers and all kinds of good stuff. And then I would get home and none of my paper would match with my cardstock, and it was just a really frustrating thing for me. So I just kind of gave up and decided that I would not be stamping. And then I went to a Stampin' Up party, and of course I fell in love with the color coordination. It was super, super easy and lots of fun, and so I was hooked again, right? And right back at it, and the color coordination is just amazing. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to do this twisted rope. Okay, so I'm going to put my cardstock inside my folder and line it up with my edge down here. And then my sandwich again is going to be my gray on top and my white. So I'm going to start with my white #1 base, my embossing folder with my cardstock inside, and then my little gray top. And the other thing with Stampin' Up's coordination is that because they do them in color groups, I know that everything in that color group is going to coordinate. And then when I hit a brick wall and I want to add another color, on my blog, I do have a link where I can put in what colors I'm using, and they'll offer me suggestions. Okay, so this is our twisted rope, and oh my goodness, I like this one almost as much as I did that withered. Can you guys see that? Isn't that gorgeous? That rope has like little textured lines in it. That is so fun. I'm actually seeing little snowmen on here for Christmas cards. That's going to be gorgeous. Hello, Kristen. Thanks for popping in. I've been watching your videos all week. You're doing a wonderful job, and I love all your good tips. Okay, so this is an 8.5 by 5.5. The long side is scored at 4 1/4, and we're just going to burnish and fold on that score line. And then I am going to put my Stampin' Seal all the way around this. And again, I am doing it all the way around so it gets in all of those little nooks and crannies. And it will hold my paper down really good. Now, before I put this down, I'm going to take my ribbon and just wrap it around and put it back into that Stampin' Seal that's there. And then come back in and add a little more Stampin' Seal on top of it. So it's not going to work its way out. And then I'm just going to put that right on top. And there we go. And then I'm going to take this little guy here. And this is my trio punch. And it has a little, like a slat punch almost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil. And I'm going to take my little vellum tag. And this one comes from these, I think it's the Essentials tag kit, Something Special. That's what it is, Something Special. One of my favorite. It has the best little labels. So I'm just going to put on my grid paper, get it all lined up, and just put a little dot right in the middle where I want my punch to go, okay? And then I'm going to turn my punch upside down. And I'm going to put it in there. Can you see my little dot in there? Let me see if I can get it up closer. So I'm just going to get my dot centered in there. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to center it right in there. And then just punch it. This is going to help me to get my punch even on both ends. And I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. It's a little hard to hold it so that you guys can see it. But what you want to do is just center your little dot right inside there. And I'm going to do this one. And you can just really wing it and try and line it up on the front, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second here. Okay, so there's my little tabs in there. And what you can do if you want is to just put your paper in this way until it stops and kind of find your center here and make sure it's straight that way and then punch it. So whichever way works best for you. And something that's really going to work good for you is to put this on there before you attach it to your card. So let me just pop this up a bit, pull my ribbon out. Boy, I have been doing a lot of backwards stuff like this week, but easily remedied. So kind of pull it through and then just slide it on here. Thought I had it when I got my ribbon on there before I stuck my card front down, but I missed just this one step here. Let's go here. This ribbon frays really easily. So I want to be careful not to grab the end of it. It's hard because I already have the glue on there, the Stampin' Seal on there. So it's kind of sticking as it's going in there. I think I got it. Yay! There is more than one way to get this done, right? Okay. So I'm going to put that in the middle and tap that back under. There we go. Oh my goodness. I am like... Okay, so now I'm going to stick this up. And I'm going to take this whole piece off. You guys are going to like this, right? I'm going to take that off. Okay, now I'm going to go. Well, let's just forget that whole part, right? So I am going to go. I want to grab my silicone mat really quickly. Hang on. Here it is. Okay, so I now have adhesive all over the back of this, but I want to put my colors on here. I want to put my designer series paper on that I have forgotten about, okay? So I'm going to come in, trim these at an angle. All that horsing around is going to make me go over my 12:30 mark here, but hopefully you'll bear with me. I am going to add some adhesive to these, and we'll start again, okay? So I'm going to start with this one in the middle this time, and then go dots on this side, and then hearts over here. And I'm going to kind of bring that one down a little bit, okay? And then I can add that after. Okay, I can add everything else after. So I have my embossed piece of paper, my ribbon with my vellum on it, and I am going to put that onto my card front. Okay. There we go. And then I am going to take the words I stamped. I'm sure they're stuck to something here, right? Okay, so let's go. We'll take these first. I am going to put those on with some glue dots, and I'm going to put a glue dot like right there and just kind of slide it under my vellum. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And I'm kind of putting my glue dot right in the middle there. And I'm going to slide it under here. And again, these sprigs came from the Quiet Meadow stamp set. Okay. And I'm sure I will come across the words I stamped eventually, but for now we'll just add some rhinestones, and when I find my words, they're probably stuck to me, but when I find them, we'll put them on there. They'll look like that. All right, so now I'm going to get my take your pick tool here, and I'm going to go with my big adhesive. And like I said, these adhesives dots. They're adhesive back dots, and they're in 3 different sizes. And I'm going to kind of stick one under there. And one up here. And then my little tiny one. I like that they're in 3 different sizes and that they come in the In Color pack so that I have all of my In Colors that they coordinate with. Okay, so we're just going to pretend for the time being that this one looks exactly like that. Camera ready. I am sure that that one is going to be found at some point, but not until I'm off camera. So we have our wild wheat and our boho blue. So let's see what is next. This is that copper clay. This color is just beautiful. It is so rich, has so much texture to it, and I think that it's going to be really cool in fall. But I have been using it with the textured earthen something. I can't think of the name of it. It will drive me crazy. Let me see. Yep, that's what it's called, Earthen Textures. So it's the Earthen Textures Suite, and it has the most amazing stamps in it and designer series paper. It is so cool. Okay, so let's do this one, and we'll emboss it with this dots. Aren't those dots gorgeous and nice and big? And again, lining it up with that straight line at the bottom. And I have my number 1 plate, my folder with my cardstock inside, and my gray plate on top. This is the sandwich that you use for any 3D embossing folder that you have. Okay. If you have a regular embossing folder, you're going to need one more piece with it. But for your 3D, you just need your base plate and then your top gray. And this is another one of my favorite embossing folders because these dots are really thick and popped out, and I love this side too. If you're a golfer, this side is all yours. It makes the perfect white circle turned into a golf ball. Okay, so our cardstock is 5.5 by 8.5. 8.5 inch side is scored at 4 1/4, and we're gonna cut and burnish. So when you were done with this, we had 5 different embossing folders, 5 different ways to use our ribbons. The ribbon, I like to alter ribbons, and so this ribbon is really fun to alter because it frays really easy, so you don't have to kind of wrestle with it. Okay, let's see. I did check, and this was going down first. Okay, so then I'm going to take my 3 pieces of DSP, and I'm going to cut those. And you can use any pattern that you want, and you can trim it any way that you want. And then I also have cut out or punched out a little dragonfly. So that's going to be kind of our accessory with this one. Okay, so I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of my 3 strips. This was a card pattern that Ange McKay, another demonstrator, had shared, and she used it with the Zany Zoo animals. I did not get the Zany Zoo animals, so we're going to be using the words and a couple little accessories from some different stamp sets and punches and bundles. Now I have this vellum circle, and I'm going to put some snail right in the middle of it and put it like that. That snail being in the middle will be covered up with my words. So we won't have to worry about it. I'm going to try and keep track of these words long enough to get them onto my card. We'll see how that goes. And this one I'm going to stamp with, I'll listen to your silence when words are just too much. This stamp set has the most amazing sentiments in it. It's like a must-have. And this little die came from the Timeless Arrangements stamp set, which is just beautiful. It has these bars with flowers coming out, so you can, it's a buildable set, so you can build a flower box with it. It is so cool. And then these dies that coordinate with it have these little cross hatches in them, so they're like stitched with little X's in the corners. Very, very cool. Now I'm going to take this one and I am going to punch holes on both sides, and I'm going to actually use that little X in there as my guide to where I want to punch my hole. Okay, so I have a hole on each side, and you, again, if you wanted to, could use this trio punch and do another little slit punch in there. So I have cut my ribbon in half, so you can see it's starting to fray a little bit on the edges, but I did cut it in half. So I'm going to tie a knot in it. So I'm just tying a knot in one end of it after it's been cut in half. Okay? And then I'm going to thread that through my little hole there. And it is a wide ribbon. It's a gorgeous ribbon. It's easy to make bows with. Let's see why I can't get it through here. It's fraying already. Okay. Here we go. Through the magic of TV. Now let's see if I can get it this way. Doing it once is good. Twice has got to be better, right? Okay. Holding it up in the air seems to be an issue for me today. I spent the morning getting ready. I have a catalog launch on Saturday, which I'm really excited about. We're going to be using lots of different products from the catalog. I don't know about you guys, but I love this new catalog. Okay, so now that it's through here, I'm going to tie another knot at this side. Okay, so I have a knot here and a knot here. Just going to tighten it up a bit. And then I'm going to trim it. And I want them both about even. Kristen, I bet you are on your lunch hour between clients there. And then I'm just going to pull that thread out and fray it. So it just frays so beautifully. And it is so cool when it frays. This one, even with that earthen textures, is a really cool look too. So we're just going to quickly fray that. Pull those pieces out. See, isn't that fun? I think that's just a really fun look on the ends here. So much versatility when you can use your accessories in lots of different ways and alter them. Okay, so let's get that mess over there. And I'm going to pop this one up on some dimensionals. I'm going to put them right on that ribbon so my ribbon's not going to pop back through on the other side. And then I'll put one at the top and one at the bottom. All right. Get those backs off there. And that's going to go right in the middle of my circle. And I'm going to put a glue dot on the belly of my little dragonfly. And put him down here. And then I'm going to bring in my little dots. And again, I'm going to use my big one down here. And I'm going to take these two, the middle one, the medium one, and put it there, and the little one right next to it. I've been kind of liking this little look lately, where they're kind of almost stacked with two different sizes. Okay, so that is that one. And then we have Moody Mauve next. This is probably one of my favorite spring colors. I really like that one. Okay, so let's see. We'll do this one with the kind of flowery one. This was the one that was in the Basics Trio. That's an online exclusive. So again, just lining it up at the bottom. Our sandwich is going to be our base with our embossing folder with the cardstock inside. And all of the cardstock is 5 1/4 by 4. And a piece of Stray Designer Series paper coming through with it. We call that a ride along when somebody pops on there and they go for a ride with the other one. It's kind of a freebie. Okay. I found one of these little hearts on the floor. Somebody must have dropped theirs. So we have the crosshatch and the stars and then the dots. This is your full trio pack of basics. Basic embossing folders. Okay, so 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored on the 8 1/2 side. At 4 1/4, we're going to burnish it. Fold and burnish. Okay, now we're going to put this down. And again, I am going to just stamp and seal all the way around. So it gets in all those little dots and crevices. What's going on here? There we go. Put it on the front of my card. And you can see when I was talking about coordination, you guys, you can see how all of these colors just coordinate with each other. And especially when you get this pebbled path in there. See how beautifully they just kind of go all together? And that's what I mean when I say the color coordination, because it just is all so beautiful and looks so nice together. So no matter what color family you're using, you're going to get a good sampling there. Okay, so this one is going to say, my heart will always be tied to you. I have this great little tag, and I'm going to ink up my words. I'm going to put them right in the middle there, because I'm going to put a ribbon at the top and a heart at the bottom. So there we go. I'm going to bring in my hearts were punched. I punched them in Moody Mauve and then in Vellum. We have the best Vellum cardstock. It is absolutely so easy to stamp on and to use to accessorize your cards with. It's just gorgeous, nice and stiff. And there we go. We just have angled all of our little pieces at the edge. I'm going to do hearts, dots. Okay, that's how I want it. Just going to add a little snail in there. And I'm going to go this way. These 3 pieces of paper are all a little quarter or an eighth of an inch, quarter of an inch difference in size, width, and length. So that they just kind of layer nicely on each other. I'm going to trim up the edges of my dimensionals. Never let these go to waste, ladies. And gentlemen, if there's some gentlemen out there watching, we want to use all of our dimensional pieces up. So always be sure you cut around those edges and put them to good use. Okay, there we go. I was just going to congratulate myself on not losing anything, and I remembered I lost my words. So I'm not doing quite as good as I had hoped, but I angled this one. Somebody actually took my sample because I can, I don't angle that way. I'm left-handed, so I do things a little bit differently, especially when I'm angling. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on here and down at the bottom. I might put that one a little bit straight. And I'm going to put a glue dot on my vellum heart, and I'll be putting an adhesive dot over top of it so it won't show. A little trick if you don't know, if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you get these great sheets of adhesive in your Paper Pumpkin kit. And they look like this. So you have these dots, and then you have these little tiny small dots in there also. I keep these, obviously, and they are great to put on vellum because you can barely see them when you put them on vellum. So, a good thing to try there. And let's put a little glue dot on my little bow. And I'm going to attach that up here. And then I'm going to put my little dot right there where I put my glue. I'll put a little one over here. And one up there. Okay. And we have one more. So bear with me. This one is kind of my favorite one. This is with our Pebbled Path. Love, love, love that one. And I'm going to actually go back and use that brick embossing folder because it's perfect for this kind of card because I cut these 2 pieces out with the texture when I just took earthen textures it is. And I cut these fawns out from it. It's so cool. So I am going to get all of my pieces over here, and I am going to take this one, and again, my embossing folder, and I've got it lined up down here, and I'm going to use that same sandwich where I have my embossing folder with my cardstock in between, and my number 4 plate on top. I'm going to put that through. All right. And This is our last one, guys. This is a little long for a lunchtime live, but I hope that you're enjoying it. So cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, 8.5 slide, scored at 4.25, and I am going to put my emboss piece. This one is 5.25 by 4, which is your usual kind of layer that you put on the top, the usual size of it. Oh, I'm going to love this embossing folder. So glad I got it. Okay. And that rope one is lots of fun too. Okay, bringing my pieces in. And again, we're just going to angle cut the bottoms. And you can see, if you did this with one stamp, it would look really nice. But we've kind of, I like to get as much product in my downline's hands as I can. Lots of new things in this catalog that may go unnoticed, so I like to share them with my team members and then with you guys. You guys always get the benefit of that too. Okay, so let's go with the hearts first, and then our circles. I love those dots. I'm a dot person anyways. So, in fact, my granddaughter's name is Dorothy. We call her Dot for short. Okay, so then I have this piece and this piece, and these are some more layered dies that I love. I'm gonna put them on. I'm debating. I think I'm going to put them on dimensional. So I'm going to put them over there for right now. And then stamp my sentiment and then make a decision. Okay, so remember we showed you those dies? So these are the dies that fit some of those words. You can stamp your words on a piece of scrap paper and then cut them out. We had 13 demonstrators here. So we didn't go that route. I made a little template for them, so we used our Stamparatus. So what I'm gonna do is let's see if we can do this without the dies being on there, or not the dies, the magnets. There we go. So pebbled path. I'm just going to put that right in there. Now, I always, when I'm using my Stamparatus, go right to my corner. So hopefully this will be lined up so that it will stamp right into where my die cut is. I'm going to cross my fingers. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. There we go. Perfect. I can live with that. So, let me grab my little, there we go. And this one says, so happy you are my person. And I am going to tape that onto this die cut piece. Like actually, it's really tiny in there. So I'm going to use my green glue. I don't use my green glue often, but for something like this, it's kind of perfect. And this just really fits in that, on that die cut nicely. Okay. My pieces are down. I'm going to put this. I'm going to actually use my adhesive strips for this because I want to leave a little bit of a pocket in the corner to put my ribbon under. I have taken my ribbon and tied it in a knot and frayed it. So let's see, this is going to be my corner that goes up. So that's the corner I'm going to kind of work around. So I'm going to put my foam adhesive strip on there. My tape is coming off it. And then I'm going to go this way because that corner right there is the one I want to leave open for my knot to go under. Okay. I'm going to actually go in here just so I can get rid of the rest of this piece because it's this protection part is all coming off. So it's just sticking everywhere. So we'll get rid of that part. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put that in here. And then I think I'll pop this one up just with some regular dimensionals. That sounded like kind of a gravelly little outcome there, didn't it? Okay, so regular dimensionals on there. And I loved the way that these 3 dies just kind of layered right into each other. I think they're kind of a perfect fit there. Okay, so I took a piece of ribbon and I tied it in a knot and then frayed the edges of it. So I'm going to take your pick tool. I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to push it right under the edge where I left that little hole there. And I'm going to slip this right under it. Okay, so that's going to kind of keep that down. And then I'm going to take these long edges or bottoms and trim those off. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue. When you're cutting these out, if you wanted to add some sticky paper to the back of them, that would be a really good idea because they're very skinny. I also, when I was cutting them, used some wax paper just because they were kind of pulling a little bit. So I'm just going to slide that under there and push it down where my glue is. And that one I'm going to do the same way. Okay, and then last but not least, we have our little dots. So I'm going to take a big one, put it up there, and then again, I'm going to do those 2 little ones down here. Okay, so there we go. How fun is that, you guys? So we used some different die cuts here. And we did the frayed ribbon, and then that one is the earthen textures. This one we just did a bow with some tags, and then our punches from the Country Lane Suite. And then this one just a tag. We did the knots with the fray and the dragonfly. And then this one is just the sprigs from the Quiet Meadow. And no words. Let's see. Here's our words. And then just the ribbon on its own. And then this one with the embossed ribbon. And the embossed sentiment. And then the ribbon. So lots of different embossing folders, ribbon techniques, sentiments, lots of different stamp sets. So again, thank you guys for being here with me. I'm sorry I took a little bit longer today. I hope that you'll forgive me. And next week I'll be really quick, okay? I'm going to pop on here and just see if there's any comments I need to address. Yes, ma'am. You're done for today. All right, Kristen, you have the rest of the day off. Cool. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Kristen, it was good to see you, or chat with you, and I'm sure I'll see you when you pop on tonight. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.